Welcome back, everybody, to Sports Profit TV. This is the MLS Live podcast with me, the Sports Prophet, Cooper, and my co-host, as always, Garrett at Just Some Footy. We are excited to be back after a mini break, I guess you could call it. We were really going and blowing with the Leagues Cup, knocking out at least 2 episodes a week, first 4 or 5 rounds, I would say, and it went really well. It's been a really fun tournament. It's been a successful tournament from a betting standpoint in regards to the show. So, mostly good. We missed the round of 16 as far as a show, but I think we like this week's lines better. And we're down to the Elite 8, I guess you could call it, quarterfinals. But, I think we've got 4 plays for you guys today, so excited to get into it.
Yeah, no, some good spots. They finally started to lay some juice on some sides. The books did, so that's had to change up the thinking a little bit of how to approach it. But no, these are some pretty good matchups depending on where you're sitting. Like if you've got some futures here, you really like how this is shaking out right now, where it looks like there's the chance of having at least 3 of my futures go on to the semis. We'll see how it plays out. That right side of the bracket, we talked about it when we first started doing these shows for Leagues Cup, and that right side of the bracket is playing out how we expected right now. We saw it, it's going to be Inter and Philly probably in the semis, and those guys probably couldn't have asked for better matchups here in the quarters to ensure their way into the semis. So yeah, it's been good. The Leagues Cup continues to be crazy. I'm trying my best to I got the mic close. My voice is thrashed after going to the Nashville Club America game last night.
Heck of a game.
Yeah. I lost and then I won. So that was fun. But that's just crazy stuff like that. Like Leagues Cup just continues to do crazy things to be exciting. Really kind of edge of your seat, don't know what to expect. I mean, you look at just 2 games yesterday with Nashville. I mean, the first 3 games all went to penalty kicks, all at the same time. That was wild. Nashville was 0-0 at the end of the first half, got 2 stoppage time goals from either side to end up 2-2 and take it to PKs. 0-0 for LAFC in Real Salt Lake. LAFC comes out and just stomps second half. So like the goal fest continues, right? Outside of Tigres and Monterrey. So it's just been good, man. It's been good watching. Like this has been great, especially in these dog days of summer where we don't have the big leagues coming back yet. This has been excellent.
Absolutely. Our guy HU in the building, one of our fellow handicappers, really solid handicapper on Twitter. He's at HU handicapper, HU capper. Good to see him joining us today. So I've got this bracket up here because obviously this is before the tournament started, but this is what the knockout round looks like or looked like. We are down to our final 8 here. Going to be in the top left-hand corner of the bracket. LAFC at home hosting Monterrey. Bottom left, we have got Nashville hosting Minnesota United. Top right, we've got Philadelphia advanced, right?
Yeah, Philadelphia.
Yeah, okay.
And the only other MX side in the bracket left.
Yep, and then Miami at home against Charlotte. So yeah, that's a good point. So we're down to our last 8. The ending of the Nashville America game was pretty wild. So America thought they were through, but they weren't, like we just touched on. So Nashville ended up going through. So we've only got 2 MX sides left. Obviously, some of the cards stacked against them being on the road, early in the season, all that stuff. But I think the best MX team is still standing, which is Monterrey, and we will get to that game here shortly. Me personally, I've got a future on Monterrey and a future on Minnesota. So from a future standpoint, I'm definitely rooting for Minnesota to get to the semifinals at 50-1. I could pretty much lock up profit if that were to happen. And then Monterrey, obviously rooting for them as well. But yeah, let's go ahead and get to this. Should be a pretty short and sweet episode today. We've only got 4 games. We're only touching on 3 of the 4, but 2 plays for me, 2 plays for Garrett. So it should be a really good episode. And we will start with, I think, the first game on the slate, and one that a lot of people are obviously going to be watching because Messi's involved. And man, can he continue to put on a show or what?
No, absolutely. It's Messi. Like, yeah, no, this is a game that I love and that I think you can play multiple ways. How I'm playing it for the show is going to be Miami money line plus over 1.5 goals. Got a pretty good price at one of the books here, one of the domestic books. It's the price varies though depending where you go. If this is juiced, I'm down to play this multiple ways. You can throw Miami's money line in a parlay. You can throw their team total over 1.5 in a parlay. Charlotte is bad, and I'll just get into it where they've given up 38 goals this season in league play. That is tied for first with Atlanta as far as the most goals given up. Charlotte's also the worst expected goals against when they're on the road, league wide. So this is just a great spot for a Miami team that's just really cooking offensively. And so I do see 2 here for Miami alone. That's why I'm playing the money line plus over 1.5 is because I do like their team total over 1.5 so much. And I think they beat Charlotte pretty easily at the end of the day. So I could see 2-3 goals here for Miami, no problem. Charlotte might contribute. I'm not going to sell them too short. The defense is bad, but Miami's defense isn't nothing to write home about. Charlotte could contribute here and give you a goal. The over 3, I think, is in play. I just prefer grabbing a lower goal total with Miami money line, but you can play this a ton of different ways. If you really want to shoot for plus money and go for that team total over 2.5 or Miami plus over 2.5, however you want to do it, I'm okay with it. I love Miami here in every single way. Enough that I'm actually going to be on this for 2 units myself. So this at this price, I'm playing for 2 units. If it's super juice for you, like minus 140 or minus 145, where I've seen on some books, I'm okay keeping it to 1 unit. No reason to eat all that juice, but I do want some action on this game.
Okay, are you going to is this going to be an official 2-unit designation for the show for you?
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right, fantastic. Yeah, man. First of all, this line is getting obliterated as we speak, has been all day. I mean, I think when I woke up this morning, this was like minus 160. And last I checked, it was like already in the minus 220 range, depending on the book. But yeah, both of these defensive units have been bad all season. We've targeted both of them during the MLS season as far as fading them. But one team has Messi and Jordi Alba and Busquets and, all kinds of other ridiculous attacking pieces, and the other team doesn't. So I like Miami a lot here as well. I think that they are a fantastic parlay piece. If that price ends up getting away from you, if you're watching the show, Thursday or maybe Friday before the matches and the price has moved on you, use Miami in a parlay. I feel really good about them here. They're also at home. And they've played really well at home in this tournament. And you mentioned it last week. Miami just continues to improve from game to game. Every game that they get under their belt as far as practice and, meshing together, they have looked better and better as the season has gone on. As League's Cup has gone on, because this is still, Messi's only his 4th or 5th game here. So, yep, I like Miami too. I think that there is a real world possibility that Miami thrashes Charlotte. Like I cannot ignore how otherworldly this Miami attack has looked in League's Cup against some good defenses, man. Like FC Dallas is a defensive team, and Miami scored 4 goals on them and found a way to advance.
FC Dallas probably couldn't have played Miami any better. It was don't kill yourselves and counter. Like that's pressure, put pressure on Busquets, don't make stupid mistakes and counter. And that's the recipe for to beat Miami. And no one's been able to do it. Orlando did the pressure and the aggression, couldn't do the countering. Dallas didn't pressure enough, in my opinion, but were surgical on the counter in their last matchup. And still Messi just puts the team on his back and sends it to PKs where anything can happen. It's been so interesting to see each team try a different way to attack this Miami side. And it's almost like it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely pulled a rabbit out of his hat there. And you know, you mentioned the strategy that FC Dallas had to at least try there. I don't think Charlotte's capable of that. And you know, this Charlotte defense has been a bottom 3 defense the entire season from the first game until we are now. They have been consistently bad. So good spot here for Miami if you've got this money line plus over 1.5 bet. I know 2 books that I use have this. Bovada and Pinnacle both have this betting option. So good price here. But alrighty, on to our next game. Going to the bottom left-hand side of the bracket now. Going back to your hometown club here, Nashville SC at home hosting Minnesota United. I mentioned at the beginning of the show when we were looking at the bracket, I do have a 55-1 future on Minnesota United. So, like, you know, when you got futures on teams, if they win, you know, it's a cherry on top, obviously. But you cannot allow the futures that you've taken before the tournament to influence, you know, your thoughts on an individual game, because that's just not. It's not professional, and you'll likely lose money if you operate that way. So I'm going to back Nashville here at home. I think that Minnesota has been exciting. They have been arguably the biggest Cinderella story of the tournament so far, I guess, excluding Querétaro, but I don't think Querétaro has done anything exciting or fun. They've just gotten really fortunate, and they've advanced on some low scoring draws and penalties. And then they got New England Revs without their 3 best players last week and squeaked by there. So, you know, it's been Minnesota United. It's been the Loons. They have been really exciting. But look, I think this might be the end of the road for these guys. They've got to go to Geodis Park. That's pronounced it. Right.
Yeah.
Otis. So they got to go to Nashville for this one. Look, I think Sam Surge coming in, getting that goal, huge goal, by the way. Obviously, they wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that goal. Henny Mukhtar deserves credit for the cross that he put on a platter as well. But look, with Sam Surge coming in, we finally get a chance to see what we've been waiting for with Nashville, which is a big-time striker at the 9, Mukhtar behind him, and then Fafa and probably Schaffelberg out wide. You finally got your attack the way you want it to look. You finally got it. And, you know, at this point in the tournament, you can almost throw analytics and stuff out the window to an extent. I think Nashville has got the eye of the tiger. Like the way that they came back, pushed that game to penalties, and got this thing done. I didn't necessarily expect Nashville to prioritize Leagues Cup this way, because they already have been doing so well in MLS. Surge, we didn't know if he was even going to be available for Leagues Cup, and here he is. But man, they look like they want this thing. So I'm going to take Nashville here. If Minnesota wins, I've got a future on them. So, you know, it's not a total loss for me. But for the show, I got to back Nashville at home here. I just think that on the road, it's going to be too much. Nashville's center back pairing looked really good, made a lot of big plays against Club America to keep them in the game. I just think they're gelling right now. You finally get your 9, everything flows. And I just think Nashville's is too solid. They're too well-rounded at home, and now they've got their attacking piece that they needed, and I've got to do it.
So it's funny because I don't think Nashville prioritized this tournament when it started.
Right.
Lots of rotation, just trying some stuff out. Now that you're at this point, yeah, I think you go for it, right? You're 3 wins away from hardware.
And
So
prize money.
yeah, and the prize money's a lot. Like it's not anything to laugh at. So this for me, Dotson getting the red card late for Minnesota really hurts them. He's an important part of that starting 11. I'm not sure if Surridge starts here. Um, he's still only been training like a week and a half with Nashville. What he did when he came in for about 30 minutes last night was definitely encouraging. This could be like a second half sub, like to start the second half. I'm not sold on him starting yet. And then yeah, I'm not sure what it looks like. They've been running two strikers and a diamond. I don't know if they keep doing that with Sam. It's interesting, but I do like Nashville here. Both teams to score is what stuck out to me almost immediately. The total's already at 3. Both teams to score is juiced out. That was never going to be a play that I could get my hands on straight. So I might actually take a shot at Nashville plus both teams to score. Minnesota has shown they don't care who it is, they are going to concede possession. I really wondered if, with them being home versus Toluca, if they would kind of be more on the front foot and Toluca would set back. Toluca had almost 70% possession that game.
Wow.
And Minnesota was just clinical on their counter chances when they got them. I think they're going to play it the same way here, where they are just going to give up a ton of possession, which doesn't bother Nashville as much as it used to. Now that Nashville runs this new diamond formation, they're a little more comfortable with possession. It's not just strict, a hard countering team. They can counter you, absolutely. Henny will prove you that over and over again. But Nashville's a little more comfortable with possession than they were probably to start the year or to the season. So I do like Nashville. I think we kind of know how this game's going to play out tactically, and it's just Nashville picking their spots and finishing their chances, which is, again, I guess what it typically comes down to naturally. But a good spot for Nashville. The money line, I expected it a little higher with Nashville just coming off a hard-fought match with Club America. Almost all these games are going to be on short rest. They're on Friday after these guys just played Tuesday. So 2 days off. So with Nashville being at home after just playing at home, that definitely helps. Minnesota's the ones traveling and missing a little more training time. So yeah, I back Nashville here. If you had a future in Minnesota, I'd probably pay Nashville for a few units and just kind of cover your bases there, especially if your future is that large. Like you've got between now and the final to kind of keep hedging a little bit here and there to make sure that you profit off of this future in some way.
Yeah, that's a good point in regards to the future. But cool, yeah, I pretty much agree. I mean, Minnesota should be respected, and I think you make a good point about how this game will look tactically. Minnesota basically forces the other team into being, the possession team, and they want to counter. So could be an interesting chess match, but ultimately, I think Nashville they're going to be too strong at home with with their additions in attack, and like you said, it looks like they want it now. So. But let's get to the heavyweight bout of the slate of all the quarterfinals. Man, this is a huge game here. I mean, this is LAFC, arguably been the top side in MLS for the last 2 or 3 seasons now. In both of our opinions, pretty much unanimously agree Monterrey is the best MX team in the tournament, even though they're a little bit banged up, but huge game here. Should have all the makings of a great match. It's going to be in LA, so there will be plenty of Monterrey supporters there as well. But yeah,
this won't feel like a huge home game for LAFC at all.
Yeah, it'll feel neutralish, kind of, similar to some of the other games we've seen, like Club America might have the biggest fan base.
They were everywhere. I was sitting next.
Yeah.
All around me were Club America fans. Like they showed up in full force.
Well, you couldn't tell until I saw they showed a goal line view behind the keeper on a big Club America chance, and the entire side stood up and was it was all Club America fans just in waves. But
It was weird because that their primary is yellow. So like
yep.
if you just looked at it on TV, you just thought it was Nashville SC fans. No, I'm telling you, at least half of them were Club America fans.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know if we get half here, but if you get 25-30% Monterrey fans here, it's going to feel like a neutral site game. But Garrett, I'll let you rip into this one. We both have a play on this game, so I'll let you lead us off.
So I'm going to take the plus money here with Monterrey to advance. That's right. Monterrey gets by LAFC to move on to the semifinals. I was impressed with Monterrey versus Tigres. They lit Tigres up, 16 shots in the game just from Monterrey. Almost half of those found their way onto target. So that was impressive to me enough because, Tigres, that's that team, right? They won CONCACAF Champions League just a couple months ago. They were probably, I had to say, second or third favorite to take this whole thing. So Monterrey shows up and takes care of business. And I'm taking them to advance because I just need to have it understood. There's still a large gap here between LAFC and a team like Monterrey. LAFC have been rolling, smoking teams. There was nothing better for them than that break where they didn't have to play group games and those round plays and could just wait to the round of 32. That break has done them wonders. It's very evident after, which is fair because LFC's basically played twice a week, almost all season long, between all the CONCACAF, between having to make up league games because of CONCACAF Champions League schedule. They were playing Saturdays or Sundays and Wednesdays, like all season long, it felt like. So the break was good. They needed it. But there's a gap here between these two sides. And I don't know how better to illustrate that when you don't, if you don't know Monterrey or if you don't know LAFC, then just kind of looking at trying to get a rough value of all of their players that they have, right? And so if you look at their market value of those players, LAFC's somewhere around 60 million in players, right? Not what they spent, what those players are worth. So on their roster is worth about 60 million roughly, okay? Monterrey is worth almost 88 million roughly. Like that is a substantial gap in player values. Now again, that's subjective, right? Like something's worth whatever somebody's willing to pay for it. But if you just kind of look around what people kind of estimate players to be, that's a large gap. Monterrey is a huge team. If you put Monterrey in MLS and with all the MLS rules, Monterrey probably has 6 designated players.
At least, yeah.
That's the kind of roster you're working with. It's probably guys you might not have heard of, but these guys are good. They're worth a lot of money. And I honestly think in Canales, they're going to have the best player on the pitch.
Yep.
Canales is very, very good. I know what Bouanga's doing right now. He's on fire. But Bouanga, that's all he does. Which is very important. Canales does everything, man. From defensive to setups to scoring goals, does it all. He can't have any more confidence right now than scoring the PK that sends Monterrey through, right?
That was big, Tigres. Yeah.
And so, and man, if y'all haven't checked out Guzman's antics throughout this league's cup, just Google him, go on X or formerly Twitter and search him. That man is wild and hilarious. But there's a huge gap in these two clubs, and to get plus money for Monterrey to advance, I just think is silly. And so I'm absolutely going to take what I think is the bigger team, the better team at plus money.
Yeah, I think this is great. I think that taking a team to advance it's obviously different than a draw no bet because if this game in regulation ends 1-1, it's a push, but you still have a chance to cash this in penalties. But yeah, I like a lot of things about Monterrey here. I like the matchup. I think Chirangelo is going to have to figure out something different here if he wants any chance on on score to try to actually threaten or score goals on Monterrey. He's going to have to change things up a little bit because if he thinks that threatening against Club Leon was difficult, well, welcome to a whole new world against Monterrey because these guys are a brick wall defensively. They've got 3 clean sheets in 4 games in this tournament against some pretty good competition. And the only 2 goals they've allowed were in the 2nd and the 6th minute against the Seattle Sounders. And then it was curtains after that. So obviously Monterrey are a little bit banged up. No Berterame and no Aguirre. As far as I can tell, I thought Aguirre was supposed to have an opportunity to play again in this tournament, but I'm having a hard time finding any information on that. But Sergio Canales has stepped right in. He's playing like more of an attacking midfield role with those guys down, and then Funes Mori, who is just kind of playing the 9 by himself. But those are not the only good players on the team. Like these guys are just every single position is really, really good. So yeah, like you said, I still think LAFC is a level below. And when it comes to these big League MX powerhouses like this, it's going to feel more like a neutral site game, like you said. And I love the plus money. I think that I'm expecting a low scoring game, and I'll get to that. But I think LAFC has a harder time, creating any real threats in comparison to Monterrey. But is Vela out or what? Is he done?
I don't think we see him in this match either. He's not done. They're just playing it close, but they always play it conservative when Vela has soft tissue injuries. So I didn't expect to see him last match. I don't really expect to see him here. Definitely not starting. And so that's definitely a blow to them. And I don't want this to sound like there's no disrespect to LAFC here. Like, I love what LAFC is doing. I love what they've accomplished. They are a hella fun team to watch. Like, they're great. It's just like that just, again, emphasizes the gap here that we perceive in these 2 teams. And I took to advance at plus money. That was just better value than the juice you're going to have to eat playing double chance here. So or draw Monterrey or draw. It was like for most books somewhere around minus 150 or worse. I'm not eating that here, but for plus money onto advance, I'm willing to pivot to that.
Yeah, right on. All right, well, I'll just segue right into mine. Same game. I'm going to take the under here. Under 3 at minus 136. I think is a very fair price, considering what kind of game I think we're going to get here. I don't think either side lets this game get out of hand. Monterrey is in playoff mode basically, and when these guys are in playoff mode, very hard to score on them. They're going to take a conservative approach because their attacking pieces are good enough to create on their own and score goals. So they are fine, kind of playing defense first. And LAFC is not a terrible defensive team by any means. In fact, they're number 2 in MLS in expected goals allowed. Looks like Murillo is healthy again. It's been Aaron Long and Chiellini at center back for the first 2 games in Leagues Cup, and they've looked good. But I just think this is going to feel like a knockout game. I think this is going to I don't see any reason that this would be like a crazy high-flying game unless somebody, really knocked in 2 early ones and then somebody had to chase. But if this is a 1-goal game, I don't think it opens up at any point. I don't see why it would. So 2 good defenses. We've seen the way that Monterrey want to play in these knockout round games, and I think with the push protection here, the under 3 is a good play. I would say this is actually my favorite play of my show plays. I prefer this over the Nashville play. If you wanted, if you wanted me to pick a favorite, I like the under 3 in LAFC and Monterrey quite a bit.
So a total, I totally dig and am buying what you just said. A total does scare me, simply because if, let's say, LAFC get off to the quick foot and knock one in, right, or Monterrey get one and LAFC answer and it's 1-1. I think Monterrey can answer every punch that LAFC swings, and that's why the total would just give me some hesitancy. I think you're absolutely on the right path. Like the reasoning behind it and stuff like that. It is just what would be icing on the cake for me is if I didn't think one side, if I had two good defensive sides and one side that just wasn't as strong offensively, right? And
Right.
so for instance, if it's like Monterey and Nashville just is not going to come back down 1-0, 2-0. That's not even a threat, right? And so, but one of these sides could if they got down. So that's the only thing that's like, oh man, that under makes me nervous. But it is the right play. I don't want the over here. Like I'm not dreaming of goals. I just
Yep.
know the capability, should this thing get out of hand, that each team could answer the call potentially, especially Monterrey. Monterrey showed that they still have one of the best attacks in Leagues Cup. I don't even think this is the best Liga MX side left. I think this is the best team left in the Leagues Cup. We said that when it started. Like, this is just the best team in this field, and so far they've been playing like it. It's going to be a good test for LAFC. LAFC somehow pull this game out, then we know, okay, it's on. Like, it's legit. This pretty much for me, I think, decides the final.
Yeah, that's a good point. If probably the final comes from this game, which I think is what you're getting at. So, I think Monterrey has kind of had to go through a gauntlet, as a lot of the Liga MX teams, for whatever reason, it was set up that way, where the MX teams were loaded in the same pod and the same side of the bracket. But yeah, I think if Monterrey gets through here, then they've got a great chance to get to the championship, to the final. But yeah, that's 4 plays.
What's your Monterrey price on the future?
I think I got 14-1.
Okay, because you took it before group play, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it didn't move much then.
What is it at now?
Well, when I took it for knockouts, it was plus 1,400.
Oh, okay.
And so if you've tailed the futures, congrats, you've got 4 futures, out of 8 teams left. So odds are good that you could end up with someone somewhere. But yeah, Monterrey's at 1,400 on the left side of the bracket, and then Miami and Philly on the right side of the bracket for me. So I like how this is shaping out. It's gone kind of how we thought. Maybe not the exact path, but we're still arriving at the destination.
Yeah, I think, man, I think a Monterrey Miami final would just be, it would be huge. It would be awesome. What would happen there? I don't think Miami can beat Monterrey.
It depends on who gets healthy for Monterrey, as to if Monterrey just beats them or runs them out of the stadium.
Ooh, okay.
I mean, like that
spicy.
That Miami defense is not something I would want to go up against Monterrey. FC Dallas, who you can't stand, put up 4 on them.
Ugh, I really can't stand them, honestly.
Like, so that I love Miami's attack. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they have subpar pieces in that attack still, and they're great. I love Miami's attack. It's that defense. LAFC, Monterrey, yeah, even maybe we'll see in the semis with Philly, but LFC or Monterrey would, I think, put a whooping on Miami from an attacking standpoint.
Yeah, I think you're right. Gonna be fun though. Gonna be a great slate of games here. 4 games. We covered 3 of them, and if you're watching this on Thursday or Friday, thanks for tuning in. Obviously, thanks to all of our live viewers. And make sure you're subscribing to the channel. I think we're just north of 400 subscribers. We just started this at the beginning of MLS season. So HU Capper in the chat saying maybe we'll do some European shows. We're talking about it. So those things are in discussion. We don't want to put out any content that's not, really high quality. And, we both have other obligations and such. We love doing the show, obviously. I've got my second child due like any day now, like 3. Yeah, literally. I mean, I might be on the way after this, but probably sometime in the next, 4 or 5 days, I will have a second baby. So just in time for busy season,
Hashtag team no sleep.
Yeah, that's about right. But anyways, thanks for tuning in again, everybody. On Twitter, if you want to follow our Twitter page, it's at MLS Live Podcast, and these are our Twitters, personal Twitters. And so, yeah, that's pretty much it. Garrett, got anything?
No, man. As always, thank y'all so much for tuning in. We greatly appreciate the support. Best of luck to everything you're on this weekend, including Europe. And we'll catch you next time.
See you guys next week. Thanks, Riley. Bye.